Welcome to Lost Wiki Kozlovka. So we're giving another recent indie game a try. This one is like a database crawler where, you know, we've got to read things, try to search for things, and then get information out of it to uncover something ominous that has happened in a small town in Eastern Europe. Unspecified where exactly. Though I'm gonna say it's probably not Poland, because in Polish names there is not a V letter, so Kozlovka wouldn't really be a place in Poland. So, you know, unless it was made by someone who thought that would be a place in Poland. I guess we will find out. I don't think it's a tier 49. No, I think... I mean, I don't know, obviously. I don't think it's to that level of thing. But yeah, it's more, I guess, if you were doing a investigation on a Wikipedia. So it's not like we're gonna be reading through books. I mean, yes, we're gonna have to find out together. Obviously, I had a look, and yes, there was like reading and filling in gaps based on what you read, so that kind of stuff, right? We're gonna have a board of mysteries to uncover. But I'm not sure we're gonna be trapped in a computer trying to, you know, do magical things. I don't think so, at least. So that's what we're doing. I know yesterday we talked about the Agatha Christie game, but I had a look, and the biggest thing about it is that it's probably going to take, like, it's quite a longer game. So if we're going to do that, it would probably have to be like started on a Sunday, so we have at least 2 streams in a row playing it. Otherwise, we're gonna start it today, and then you're gonna wait a week and forget what's going on. So I'm gonna keep it like pinned for the future. But this is supposed to be a shorter one, so hopefully we should be able to fit it in today. It just depends on, you know, if I get stuck a lot or not. Right? Like, it's not supposed to be too long, but so was the one yesterday. And then we were there for a while. So with that in mind, hello Juwon, hello Crystal, hello Digibot, and hello very much Craft. I hope you are doing well, and yeah, we're gonna kick it off. We're gonna get into the game. You've played the demo, okay? I've not touched it, so all I've seen is the front of the Steam page, like some reviews and the description. So we'll see how it goes. I turned off some of the effects that are supposed to make the screen really noisy, because I thought that may make the stream get a bit freaky, but we'll see how it goes. Okay. We're loading into the Lost Wiki. Enter your credentials to continue. Okay. Apparently, if I just click on it, it does it. I don't need to know what the credentials are. We've got mail. Okay. Lysenko V. Kozlovka Local. Potential job in Kozlovka. I've read your articles, and I think you can notice what others miss. You're thorough, and more importantly, careful. That's what I need. I've granted you limited access to the database. It holds more than enough if you know where to look. Attachments, database instruction, document. Okay, well, should we be clicking on random attachments people send us in emails? No, we should not, but in this case, we are going to do so. Okay, we've got an attachment, says, use the hyperlinks to navigate around the database. Yes, we know how to use the internet. Drag the right words into the report. Okay, so yeah, that's how the fill in the gaps gonna work. When you're satisfied with your conclusion, submit findings to me. I will review them. Okay, so we can zoom in, zoom out. And then it's like, yeah, okay, controls. Cool. That's the instructions. Yeah, that's the email we got. So then we have, okay, that's the attachment on this button. This is the web. Okay, there's image viewer for when we have images. Right now we don't have any images. Redacted bypass. Enter your system code followed by your local area code. Okay. I assume this is something we need to uncover in the game. Because right now I don't think that's going to work. Okay, well, keep that in mind. Okay, and this is the report we gotta fill in. So, something is a quiet town in Zarnava. It is beside the something, a vibrant woodland with a very distinct ecosystem. At the heart of the forest, a tall tree stands proud, that locals refer to as the something. The town itself has a thriving something business, one which boasts bountiful harvests and provides food sustainability. Okay, well, in this database we've got Kozlovka. Kozlovka is a small town located in the eastern region of Zarnava, nestled at the edge of the Białowieża forest. Okay, so Białowieża forest actually is a real place. It's a forest on the border of Poland and Belarus. So it's partially in the both countries. So based on those names, I would expect this town to be on the Belarusian side. So close to Poland. So we're basically filling in, like, this is the tutorial. We're learning the basics, right? So Kozlovka is a quiet town in Zarnava. That's beside the Białowieża forest. The town boasts its agricultural achievements with incredible fertile soil. Kozlovka was founded in 1887 and survived significant challenges, including German occupation during World War II and the later Soviet influence. Okay, so this is where we view, like, the database links, but this is the only page we know about. And we can make the picture bigger. Okay, it goes into our image viewer. It's not a very clear picture. I don't think we need to, like, get anything from it right now. Okay. There is apparently something at the heart of the forest, a tree that we have to find the name of. And what kind of business is in the town. Okay. So how do we search this database then? Okay, we can click on the things as well as drag them. Yes, that's how links work. Kozlovka is most known for its agricultural achievements. Their yearly yield supplies around 10% of the food in Zarnava. Their medicinal herbs are also known to be overly potent. Even with their success, there have been pushes to industrialize their practices, most notably the modern farming initiative proposed in the 90s. Okay, so again, we can keep clicking from here. We can learn about the forest, which will probably let us find out about this tree that we're looking for. Białowieża forest is located next to the town of Kozlovka. Known for its distinctive natural features, it is home to an ancient tree, the Draken Oak, which is believed to be over 1,000 years old. It is also home to a unique and rare fungus, symbiotic ergot. Okay, so yes, the Draken Oak is the tree that stands in the forest, I think. And yeah, the town itself has a thriving something. I mean, I assume it's like about the agriculture. It just says agriculture achievement, so I guess, does that work? Okay, that just drags agriculture. Okay, so in theory we could submit that, but we could go in and read more things, right? Because we can go read the medicinal herbs. Ironically, due to Kozlovka's incredibly fertile soil, the medicinal herbs grown in the area are too potent for use and are not approved by the government. However, some locals vouch for their effectiveness, such as the local pharmacist, Dr. Mstislav Dragunov, and the witch, although she advocates more for its use in ancient pagan rituals. Okay, there's a witch Ooh, spooky. And take the picture. The witch is a local shaman who owns a small shop on Kozlovska High Street. She is most known for her appearance with her iconic one bloodshot eye. Even as a pillar of Kozlovska's culture, there is a decline in interest for ancient pagan rituals. As a tourist, you can get her signature, spiritual chalk. What means dragon? I don't know, actually. Like, it's not a Polish word I could refer to. We can click on it. There, oh, it's the tree with the symbols. There we go. Quercus drakensis, draken oak, is the rare and ancient tree in Białowieża forest. The carving on the trunk was said to be a pagan tradition to honor of the agricultural season. It is protected by the Zarnavian government in 1991 after establishing their independence. The tree is the primary host for the fungus, yes, symbiotic ergot. Okay, so they're saying that Zarnavia is basically like a made-up country they've made for the game. Even though the Białowieża forest is an actual place. Yes, there's the symbiotic ergot. Is a unique fungus in the Białowieża forest that relies on a symbiotic relationship with their plant host, the draken oak. The fungus known to cause extraordinary fertility of the surrounding land. Dr. Kazimierz Ostrowski was the leading expert in the symbiotic ergot. Though uncommon, it can also be used as a medicinal herb. Okay, draken is Swedish for dragon. Okay, makes sense. Anyway, we've read a bunch, but I think we're good to submit our findings on this tutorial thing before we get any deeper. Right. That's okay, this is just what we've said. Okay. I assume it's been accepted then. Yes, you were right, Crystal. Okay. Need more than this. You found something, but not enough. If you want to keep going, you will need to understand where this place began. Look for patterns and connections. The flowchart is a tool, not a solution. Follow the threads, not the labels. Okay. Interesting. Right, follow the threads, not the labels? What do you mean? Because obviously if we go to this view, right, it's like it has the threads between the labels. But how do we follow them? Will they form some sort of pattern once we have found enough, filled in enough? Well, the report we've got to submit this time is engraved on the tree. There are two runes, the top bearing something and the bottom bearing something. The locals clearly hold spiritual beliefs tied to the forest. These beliefs are not unfounded, for there are colonies of around the tree. The fungus is likely the cause of the town's agricultural success. Okay, so we've learned about the fungus, so we can already put in the symbiotic ergot as the colonies around the tree. But yes, we have to learn about the runes on the tree. So they are on these pictures, but I guess there wasn't any further link. There's the link to the government, but oh. Okay. Access restricted. Zarvanian Cultural Preservation Initiative. Passcode required. Click on numbers to enter. Passcode hint. Year of Zarnavian independence. Okay, well, we should be able to get that, right? There was stuff to read about the Zarnavian independence somewhere. Okay, Kozlovka was founded in 1887. Can we go to Zarnava? Well, there's the German occupation. This article has been modified from an earlier entry. From 1941 to 44, Kozlovka was occupied by the Germans and was a main source of food supply for the battalions occupying that region. In June 44, a huge offensive was launched. Cornering the Nazis in the Belgian forest, dozens of lives were lost to the forest, which ended in a Soviet victory. Afterwards, Zarnava declared independence in 1991. So we can go back to this secret page and we can do... Okay, we have to click through 1991. Passcode accepted. Loading. Okay, we've gotten into the first part of the hidden pages. Zarnavian Cultural Preservation Initiative. This initiative started in 1991, when Zarnava gained its independence. Its purpose was to preserve sites and documents of cultural significance. See below the list of topics related to the ZCPI. So the Draken, Org, the Modern Farming Initiative, Slavic runes and bones. Yes, that's what I need. Zarnavians have an Eastern Slavic ancestry and form pagan beliefs, some of which come in the form of runes. Few locals, like the witch, still believe they hold power. See below the list of common Slavic symbols. Parents mark. Okay, so that's this. Expanded to put in the pictures, right? Or I guess that's just expanded, it doesn't like save it in the pictures. Offers protection against misfortune and ill omens. I guess I should note down what's actually on the oak, because that's gonna make it easier. Okay, so it's this cross with little borders and this kind of entwined rope. Okay, because now we're gonna see what's what. Rodovik. This is a Slavic rune linked to family lineage and ancestral blessings, frequently found on household objects. Okay, it's not the one. Izivini. This Slavic rune is a symbol of forgiveness and peace. It is often used in pagan rituals associated with restless spirits. Zemnea cross. Okay, that's the top one. This Slavic rune is a symbol of fertility tied to bountiful harvest. It is often carved onto tools or boundary stones. Okay, makes sense. If they have a super fertile land, then that's it. Yes, engraved on the tree are two runes. The top being the Zemea cross. And then the bottom one is the twin glyph, because that's what we had left. The two interwoven lines represent duality, growth and decay, renewal and remembrance. Some rural communities believe that the Slavic rune was a symbol of transition rather than an end. Yes, this is it. There's always like a common thing, like, you know, transition, like end is the beginning, the circle of life and stuff like that. Okay, well, that's another report filled in. So we submit. Yes, there are two runes, Zemia cross and the twin glyph. These beliefs are not unfounded, for there are colonies of symbiotic ergot of the tree. So the fungus is making the ground fertile, and therefore they're like, oh yeah, it is working. We've got mail. The real brief. Okay, they were testing us. They were like, can you read? Because I need people that can read. Thank you. Apologies for being cautious. I need to know you are the right person for the job. I haven't been fully honest with you. This isn't just research. Someone I cared about disappeared in the early 90s. Official records are incomplete and inconsistent. Most people stopped asking. I didn't. Okay. So what are you really asking us to do? In the 1990s, there was a string of disappearances, most notably, someone. Can you read and do you have a basic understanding of how the internet works? If so, welcome aboard. Well, we've passed that test. Yep. We can read and we can click. Doing well. Oh, and we can drag as well. Someone was also a victim of the disappearance. It was because of this that the something was scrapped. The victim's belongings were found in the something, which is where they were presumed to have met their ends. Yes, okay, so this is where we're getting into what is really going on. Why are we needing to read? Okay, so it is about people. We've had some names of people that were associated with various things. Like studying the mushrooms and things like that. So, let's see. Yes, Dr. Kasimir Ostrovsky. Dr. Kasimir Ostrovsky is a Russian mycologist who specialized in the study of rare fungi. He moved to Zarnava and dedicated most of his 30-year career studying the symbiotic ergot. He was invited to Kozlovka as part of the Modern Farming Initiative, primarily researching the ecosystem in Białowieża forest. Okay. As far as we know, he didn't disappear. The Ouroboros is everywhere, yes. It's interesting that some of them say this article has been modified from an earlier entry. Will there be a way for us to see the previous things? Well, we haven't looked at the Modern Farming Initiative yet. The Modern Farming Initiative was proposed by Mayor Jan Dragunov in 1991 to revise Kozlovka's agricultural practices. It was approved by the Zarnavian government after achieving independence in the same year. The proposal involved Dr. Kasimir Ostrovsky, who was invited to the town to undergo research. The proposal was ultimately scrapped in 1992, right? So that might be related because they said something was scrapped. So what about Jan Dragunov? Jan Dragunov is the current mayor of Kozlovka. He came into mayorship after he superseded his father, Attila Dragunov, in 1992. He was best known for proposing the Modern Farming Initiative, in which he invited Dr. Kasimir Ostrovsky to Kozlovka to undergo research. Okay, so this is kind of circularly telling us about the same stuff. What about his father? Attila Dragunov was the mayor of Kozlovka from 1945 to 1992, was best known for establishing the Kozlovka police force and his affection for bisons. Yes, there are bisons in the Białowieża forest. Is one of the few remaining sites in Europe, I think, that still has the European bisons. Although I think they were actually initially hunted all out and then they reintroduced them. Random facts, because, you know, if you live in Poland, they'd be like, we got a forest with some bisons in it. You must know this, child. You know, education about bisons. He was superseded by his son, Jan Dragunov, when he mysteriously vanished as part of the tragedy commonly known as the 90s disappearances. Okay. Interesting. So we've got someone's glasses and the crime scene little marker, but also another one of those symbols is here. They're not for petting. No, I don't think you're allowed to pet them. I mean, once. You can pet anything once. The same way as you can eat anything once. So, the disappearances. 15 people vanished from Kozlovka over the course of 2 months in the summer of 1992. Wow, for a small town, 2 months, 15 people disappearing. That's either you have some serious diseases or a really effective serial killer or some other dark happenings going on in your town. Most notably, Attila Dragunov was among the missing, as well as one non-local, okay? That might be the person that's related to who's messaging us, although not necessarily, they might be local. The investigation led by Jan Dragunov ran cold after a year, having only found a few items from several victims. This was the most recent tragedy that the town had to endure. Okay, so in 1990s, there was a string of disappearances, most notably, I guess the mayor disappearing is the most notable, right? If you have people going missing in town, obviously that's a huge thing. But your mayor disappears as well, you know, that's a big thing. Someone else was also a victim of the disappearance. It was because of this that the thing was scrapped. That was the Modern Farming Initiative? Okay, well, let's go click on Tragedy. Okay. Kozlovka Tragedies. Passcode required. No hint available. Okay. Let's just take a note down that Kozlovka Tragedies, we need some password that they're not gonna even tell us what it is. Because we're gonna have to probably watch out for some clues. So we've done Jan and Attila. Yeah, 90s disappearances. Yeah, so the Modern Farming Initiative. So did Casimir then disappear? Because, like, you know, the thing was ultimately scrapped in 1992. Like, that feels like someone important had to disappear for that to happen. And like, Jan Dragunov was the one that proposed it, so he wasn't the old mayor that disappeared and then they were like, oh yeah, whatever, let's not do this, right? This is the mayor that remained. So, I mean, I assume this goes here, right? The mother... it was because of this that the Modern Farming Initiative was scrapped, potentially. But then, yes. I would have to find proof that Ostrovsky was one of the people that did disappear. Because otherwise it doesn't make any sense. Like, his page doesn't actually mention that. Okay, we've got a bunch of links. I guess this tells us whether we have things we haven't explored on a page. So like Kozlovka still has founded in 1887. Okay, access restricted, Dragunov family, passcode required, date of winter festival. Okay, so we need to find that. That's like one thing with one thing that's kind of the thing with this game is like we could be going completely the wrong direction, right? And we're gonna be here a while, but we'll see. He had a 30-year career, so if found when he started, that would help. Yes. Yes, so yes, if it's like he had a 30-year career, then he comes to this town and that ends it, then yes, that would do it. But if we're saying actually this was like somewhere mid his career, then he didn't disappear. Yes, but we'll have to dig into more. I think that was it. Oh, yeah, because we did the German occupation already. So that's everything on Kozlovka. Medicinal herbs go to the incredibly fertile soil. Okay, so that goes just to agriculture, where we've already been. And then it also goes to Mstislav Dragunov. He's also part of the Dragunov family, so there a picture is forming where that family seems to be all over town, right? There's a mayor, there's a local pharmacist, Dr. Mstislav Dragunov. This article has been modified from an earlier entry. Yes, has someone been like erasing things, being like erasing people that they disappeared or anything like that? Dr. Mstislav Dragunov is an accomplished medical doctor and the local pharmacist of Kozlovka. He was the first to formulate a medicine using the local colony of symbiotic ergot. No one has been able to replicate his success. He's a vocal advocate of using Kozlovska's medicinal herbs for nationwide medical use, yes, but the government thinks they're too strong, and he's like, no, I'm giving them to everyone in town and it's all good. So the whole herbs and mushroom things might be something that comes up that's linked to the whole thing. Have I played The Room Dark Matter? I've played Like, I've played the numbered room game, so like there was 1, 2, 3, and 4. Is that a different game from 4? Okay. We have stuff in the witch. Yeah, so she's the local shaman. Oh yes, she's got the spiritual chalk. Spiritual chalk is a flagship product of the witch, a local shaman in Kozlovka's high street. I like how the witch has just like a shop on the high street, right? Nice little signage, you know, with bunch of things. Come see the witch. Open Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5. Lunchtime special or something. It is advertised to be able to commune with the surrounding nature and the souls of those who perished with rune symbols. Traditionally, it is a woman's job to mark sites with rune symbols, as many did in the past. Okay, so that's them marking the things with the chalk. Okay, that is all we get from the witch right now. There is still the preservation initiative. Okay, so we saw the oak, we saw the farming initiative, we saw the symbols, but there's also the Kozlovka town ledger. Passcode required. No hint available. Interesting. Oh, it's the VR one. No, I don't have any VR stuff, so I also wouldn't be able to play that. Okay, so we can't access the town ledger. No hint available. Okay. Interesting, because that means we've opened everything but the stuff that's password required? And 2 of them are no hint available, and 1 is the date of winter festival. But we did not see a winter festival? Which means we're potentially like too far out. It means probably we're supposed to already be able to solve this before we move on further in the database. So, if that's the case, it feels like, to me, it feels like the doctor that was doing the research, he must have disappeared, right? Because that would be what canceled the modern farming initiative. And then, you know, we're talking so much about the forest being like very central to this place, so it would be the place where their belongings were found. Like, I'm not sure we're supposed to be making such far-reaching assumptions, but kind of feels like it. Like the picture that was there on the disappearances. Yeah, he was missing. Yes, they found only few items. They don't say where. So where they found? In the forest? Are we supposed to presume that? In 1990s, there were a string of disappearances. Yes, most notably Attila Dragunov. Dr. Casimir Sostrovsky was also a victim of the disappearance. It was because of this that the modern family initiative was farming initiative was scrapped. The victims' belongings were found in the Białowieża forest, which is where they were presumed to have met their ends. Okay, so the game is not explicit then about stuff like that, where it's like, we will spell this out for you in the articles. Will we be told where we were, if we were wrong? I don't know. Nothing so far said I was wrong, but I would presume if we were wrong, the game would probably stop us. Unless it's a game where it's like, you can say whatever you want and, you know, at the end you either fail or succeed. But if this is correct and the game is checking us along the way, then it would suggest that we have to kind of extrapolate, right? We have to, it isn't just we're gonna find an article that says this person disappeared and that's why this thing happened, right? We're gonna have to be like, well, those two things seem like that may be the case. Like the fact that the doctor disappears and this thing is scrapped seems to link, even though they didn't explicitly say that. Dig deeper. I can't believe they were so close to the town. This changes a lot of things. I need you to investigate further. By now, you must have tried to access our tragedy page. We normally don't show this to the public, but I will make an exception. Attachments, access request, approved. Interesting. Okay. Vola Lysenko from Kozlovka. Request for access. Dear Vola, thank you for contacting the town hall. After considering your close relationship with the governing bodies, your request to access the Kozlovka tragedies articles has been approved. Allow is a one-time code to access the page. It is 7328. Yes, it does feel like it's checking that we're right? It's not just letting us keep going. Okay, so if the page has no hint, it is possible that they will send us the password later. We just have to get through a gate. Okay, so this time, what we're looking for a small town, Kozlovka has its fair share of tragedies. Among them, these are the tragedies that coincide with sudden spike in Kozlovka's agricultural year, from earliest to latest. Are they like, you know what makes the soil fertile? The bodies. The bodies make the soil fertile. And the mushroom, they just help. They help break down the bodies to make the soil fertile. That is the secret. That's what's in your farming yields. Coincidentally, these tragedies were all committed in the something. In the forest, probably. Okay, well, let's go to the tragedy page. 7, 3, 2, 8. Passcode accepted. Kozlovka tragedies. For an uneventful town, Kozlovka has had a fair share of tragedies throughout its history. See below the list of notable incidents. So yes, we've seen the 90s disappearances, but we have to organize them in order. So obviously 19 disappearances were in 1992. Then we have the summer plague in August 1990. Okay, so summer plague in 1990. An unusual wave of deaths spread across the town. Most victims had pre-existing medical conditions and were found deceased in their homes. Postmortems revealed unidentified fungal matter within the bloodstream. Suspected at first to be fast-moving contagion, the tragedy ended as suddenly as it began. The mushrooms were hungry. Animal killings. In 1965, a tragedy occurred where locals were reporting their pets missing to the authorities. It was revealed that dozens of animals were found mutilated at the foot of the Draken Oak. Although the investigation was quickly resolved, the bodies were proven difficult to retrieve due to them decaying at a faster rate in the soil. The mushrooms must be fed. No crossing like police line. Battle of the Forest. Okay, so that's the wartime Battle of the Forest. We've already read that. And Festival Massacre. In 1892, dozens of locals were killed during the winter festival. The culprit was caught murdering festival attendees in front of the Draken Oak. When cornered, the culprits slit their own throat and joined their victims at the foot of the tree. This is the earliest tragedy recorded in Kozlovka. Yes, so far it seems like people are being sacrificed to the oak and fed to the mushrooms. So that's interesting. Is also 1892 the date we're gonna use potentially for the winter festival, right? It said the date of the winter festival. Do they mean the one with all the killings? Okay, so can we open the Dragunov family then? Not the ledger. There we go. Yes, Dragunov family, date of winter festival. So 1892. No, okay. It's not just the year of the festival. It might be just an actual like date, month, date. Okay, well, the festival massacre still has things we can find. Oh, it's probably here, the winter festival. The winter festival occurs every year on the 15th of December. Yes, of course. That makes a lot more sense. So 1512. Presumably, if it's in Europe, the dates are European style. So it's 1512, not 1215. The festival celebrated the hardship between people endured throughout the year. Wives would take up their husbands' tools as a sign of kinship and equal footing. The holiday is no longer celebrated since the massacre in 1982. Yes, okay. They were like, you know what? Time to cancel this. And then we can go into here. So 1512. Yeah, there we go. Dragunov family. Kozlovka was founded by Bogdan Dragunov and Alina Dragunova. The story goes that their love guided them to this plot of land in hopes of starting anew as a family. A memorial was erected to honor the family, which includes a quote that reads, "For the loss of a few, there is still many." For the loss of a few, there is still many, okay. Because they were turned into mushrooms? Yes, interesting thing like about, I know this is a thing with Eastern European names, probably with some other ones, is that there are male and female version of surnames. So he's Dragunov, but she's Dragunova. And it's interesting because, like, for example, the English-speaking thing, that's not a thing, right? If you have a family name, the family name is the same between the different people. But in Eastern Europe, depending on whether you're a man or a woman, it would be different. And I've seen like people, who like are American, like they're a man, but they have the female version of the surname because I guess the system couldn't handle such a discrepancy. So it's just such a weird thing of like, what happened to your name? That doesn't sound correct at all. So, yes, names being weird and hard. Okay. Yes, the quote is weird and suspicious, that's for sure. But I'm not sure where that takes us yet. Anyway. We probably can fill this in, right? Yes, fair share of tragedies. Among them, these are the tragedies that coincide with sudden spikes in Kozlovka's agricultural year. Okay, so we have to go back to the agricultural stuff, see if there is, right? Because here, if we expand this, we can see that there was a spike before 1900s, so that would be the 1892, the festival. Then there's a spike around the 40s, so that's the battle. And then another spike just in the early 90s, so that's the That's the disappearances, or would that be the summer plague? Yes, that does seem like around the 1940, like it was 44 the battle. This one, like, it feels like it starts in the 1990. So considering the scale, yeah, it's either the plague or the disappearances. Okay, so if we go to the tragedies, we're gonna go from earliest to latest. So the festival massacre, then the Battle of the Forest, and then the... Okay, I guess that's the difference. The summer plague, it was just people in town dying. But then it says coincidentally, these tragedies were all committed in the forest, I think. Right? Which means it's the disappearances. Because in the disappearance, people's belongings were found in the forest, so it's assumed that's where they've died. But the plague was just people, yes. Death spread in the town, disease found in their homes. So that's how we can tell those two apart. And then we just put in the forest here. Yes, they had their fair share of tragedies. And that's the tragedies we have named. But yes, it does seem if people die in the forest, the soil becomes fertile, right? So as long as you keep the sacrifice up, everything will be good. Redacted bypass. Your findings have been more than helpful. They're disturbing. This pattern we're uncovering, it's not random. Someone knew. Someone let it happen. You must have redacted bypass installed on your system, like any good journalist. It's been a while since I've been prohibited by the government, so here's a refresher on how to access it. Okay. Here's a thing about how to get into things. In order to enable redacted bypass, you must have your vendor system code. You can find this in your computer. Okay, we saw that at the start. Then you will need the local area code of the city you'd like to bypass. You can find this in all addresses. Okay, local area code, heading code. Okay, well, we've seen an address, right? When he mailed us something before. Here, the approved request. Right, it gave us... I have too many windows open. So yes, this is the town Kozlovka 451 SV2. So we have that part of it. But we need our system code, which it was at the start of the game where we've launched it. Like, let me see. If I save the game and I go back to the start. Yes, gloves not in today, but they're fine. We know they're fine. We've seen them yesterday. So it's just life. There we go. Version 1.2, system code 342. Okay. So that's the info we need. And that's the local area. Okay, how do I get to this bypass? Also, I don't know what it says because I can't read Cyrillic. So if anyone can and you can read this, do let me know what it says. But also, yes, we have a weird symbol on our desktop. Is that a rune of some sort? Okay. Well, I guess the system bypass is gonna come up at some point. Or now I looked at this picture and I was like, is there actually a thing in the game where we kind of like, if we find enough pictures, we will be able to read this ourselves? Because here it's like Białowieża and then it's the Cyrillic text. And then there was another thing here, right, where it says something, no crossing, and it's also kind of matched to the characters maybe, but I wouldn't think, like, it's obviously translated so it wouldn't be the same characters. Like the Białowieża, at least you can sort of be like, it's probably a similar word, but the rest of it maybe not as, you know, it's not one-to-one letters. It's obviously translated stuff. So maybe not. So, after the government disapproval of their product, something caused the tragedy something. Because of this, someone proposed the something to abandon any use of the something. Okay. That might be to do with the medicinal herbs, like just from the top reading of it, right? Because there's been a bunch of stuff we read already that was like, they grow the most potent medicinal herbs and the local pharmacist says that they're good, but the government says, no, they're too strong. Okay, so where else we can go? The Cyrillic is Akotsiatia, Sharon list of Zarya, I think. Okay. But yeah, I guess I don't know still what that would mean. Oh, associatia, like association? Yeah, something association. Oh, okay, yes. Association, journalist of, so that's journalists. And something. Zara, something. Yeah, I mean, I only speak Polish, so now that I've read it a bunch, I was like, oh yeah, associacja journalistów, right? That makes sense to me. But like, don't know what the last word would be then. Anyway, I guess it's not like, if it's a journalist association, then it's not like important. It's not like some secret hidden on our desktop. Okay. So, we still have the ledger that we can't get into, and there was no hint, which means that will probably be given to us later. The family we're still allowed to access, but yes, we can from here go to Bogdan Dragonev. I have a question. Is there a possibility that this mushroom is one of those mushrooms that can control minds? It's possible, right? Like somehow it's one of, I think, I mean, one of two things that can expand a bit, right? One of the potential is, yes, there is some sort of mind control from the forest, right? So somehow the relationship between the mushroom and the oak is that they can make people mind control, right? So they might control someone being like, bring us our sacrificed because we're hungry. Or the kind of less supernatural version of that is that, you know, people believe, people in the area believe that it is true that the mushrooms and the forest is what gives them the good farming yields, but they also know, like the local legends, that this only works if you feed the forest, right? So it could be like local forbidden knowledge that you must feed the forest in order for the good yields to continue, and therefore anytime they see like the yields are getting worse and worse, because we saw that in the chart, right? It spikes up, then it kind of goes down, and when it's at this sort of bottom line, then the people decide, like, it's time to feed the forest. But you know, they don't want to let anyone know that that's what they're doing, so they're hiding it. So yes, this person that's emailing us, they're either doing it because they think it's supernatural, or they think it's a conspiracy, right? That the town knows this is happening and the people in charge are doing this on purpose and they want to expose them. Call the home safety hotline. Yeah, I mean, if anything, if we're doing supernatural, I think the home safety hotline beings are the beings of the forest, and they'll be like, no, don't worry about it. The forest needs to feed. Okay, Bogdan Dragonev was a founding member of Kozlovka. Originally a carpenter, his career shifted to farming after having their first child, who was born sickly. He was famous for being a terrible farmer, but nevertheless persisted, or persevered. He was always devout to his wife, and his family is said to have borrowed her strength in times of need. Okay, he was a terrible farmer, apparently. And Alina Dragunova was a founding member of Kozlovka. She was incredibly spiritual and set up the winter festival as her way of celebrating her husband's crops. The festival attracted dozens of people whose families make up Kozlovka today. She was always devout to her husband and was known in the community to set everything aside for the sake of her family. Yes, like sacrificing people to the forest, right? It's a sacrifice she's willing to make. Okay, so it seems like we're very much at the edges of our database right now. I'm not quite sure how are you using this bypass then, because that's what it seems to point us at. Redacted bypass, you must find your system code. Need the local area of the city like the bypass. You can find this in the address. Yeah, okay. Where do I put that? Right, because I have... This is like the actual game controls, and this is actual game settings. Because I have the information. Yeah, she set up the Winter Festival, and then there was a murdering happening, and then they cancelled it, right? Because she was like, well, we've done what we needed to do. Don't need this anymore. So yeah, I'm not sure if I missed something, or is this not yet a place where we're supposed to use this? Because I've not seen any place where I could, like, activate this. Maybe somewhere here? No hints available, right? So it's like a password here, but there isn't like, oh, and press this to do a bypass or anything like this. Yeah, that just pictures. Oh, this. See, I'm terrible and forgetful. We had a special button for the bypass. Okay. So enter your system code followed by the local area code. Okay. We're back on track. So we need the system code, which is 342. And then the area code is 451. There we go. Welcome to the redacted bypass. With this program, you can access data from articles that have been previously modified by local authorities. Yes, so this is where there was a previous version of this article comes to play. Insert article name to continue. Okay, so we can, whatever we're reading, we can do the bypass on it. Let's see. So, stuff that had previous version, because I assume this one doesn't say previous version. So yes, there's no redacted data available. So we have to go to an article that had one of those. It's been changed. Yes, like the summer plague. It's been modified. Attempting data retrieval. The victims were frequent patrons of Dr. Mislav Dragunov, who regularly complained that standalone medicine would not help people with such long-standing medical conditions. After a swift investigation, the police said there was no correlation. Okay, so he's the one that's like, use the medicinal herbs, and the government's like, no, don't do it. Okay, so that's the secret here. I remember the two people that disappeared had redacted stuff, yes. Hello, Joran. Welcome, welcome. Yes, you're astonished I was these patients, like nothing suspicious is happening in this town. Okay. So Dr. Casimir Ostrovsky. The talented mycologist went missing during his time in Kozlovka. When the mycology community asked for his research in the forest, the local government refused to release it due to sensitive information. Yes, so we knew he disappeared, and now they're like, oh, and the research, it is secret. You're not allowed to know about it. Because he found out about the mushrooms. Then there was the Attila Dragunov, yes, the mayor that disappeared. He also has a redacted stuff. As the town was relatively small, there was no sheriff, and so the mayor was responsible for leading investigations. Upon appointing himself sheriff, he stated, "As long as I draw breath, I shall keep this town thriving. Know that I will do what's best for Kozlovka." I mean, including feeding himself to the mushrooms, I guess? Because he disappeared as well. Okay, I don't remember if there was more that was redacted. I mean, there's of course, we're looking into the medicinal herbs right now, right? But there is nothing redacted here. Oh, there's stuff on the doctor's page. The no Windows 3.1 was back in fashion. Yes, that's apparently where we do our investigations these days. That's where all the secrets are hidden. He announced a more potent version of his medicine in 1989, but failed safety tests in the subsequent year and was not approved by the government. Okay, so that's probably towards what we're looking for, right? After the government's disapproval of their product, yes, the doctor caused the tragedy, the summer plague, right? He was trying... Okay, I can see where this is going. He was trying to be like, oh, I can cure those diseases with the medicinal herbs. But instead, he just killed a bunch of people. So yes. After the government's disapproval of their product... Oh, let me move this past my camera. He caused the tragedy summer plague. Because of this, something proposed something to abandon any use of the medicinal herbs. I think that's how it's gonna go. Why are some letters capitalized? As in here? I don't know, it's every second one, so it just feels like a old kind of like I remember some old files being just like that to make it look more, I don't know, hacker speak or something. I'm not sure if it's anything because it's every second letter, so it's RDCEYAS, so that doesn't make any words. But I mean, we'll see if it comes up. So yes, he caused the summer plague by trying to use the mushrooms. Because of this, someone proposed something to abandon the use of the medicinal herbs. Camel case. I think that's at the start of words, not every second letter. But yes, I assume you're just saying that for fun. Yes, like you usually just do it to separate the words rather than every other letter. Okay, so I get what this is trying to say, right? We're getting into those sort of idle problems. Because of this, someone proposes something to abandon any uses of the medicinal herbs. So here I want to say something like the government and something like that. Where can we get some words for the government? That just takes us to the family. Yes, their medicinal herbs are also known to be overly potent. Propose D. So it's not like propose the doctor. Or was it B? No, that would be weird English, right? If this said the doctor or Miroslav Dragunov, that would be a weird sentence, right? So yeah, I'm looking for some other sentence structure. Because of this, Yes, there are overly potent. Yeah, it was somewhere. I'm trying to remember where we saw that. The modern farming, that's not it. Agriculture. Modern farming initiative. Their medicinal herbs are also overly potent, yes. And not approved by the government, right? But the government is not a word we can stick in there. Some locals vouch for their effectiveness. I mean, probably it's not the witch that's doing this. It could be a profession. I'm just trying to find a place where we can actually, like, find those words. Because generally we mostly get to use the page titles. Preservation initiative. Their symbols. There is the Zarnavian government. Not this. There we go. Because of this, the Zarnavian... No, I want the government. Hey. Because yeah, here it says it was approved by the Zarnavian government, but when I drag this, it gives me the Zarnavian Cultural Preservation Initiative. Because that's the article it leads to. So what titles do we have? Casimir was here to do the research of the fungi, studying the ergot. He was invited as part of the Modern Farming Initiative. Yes. Agricultural practices. Came to mayorship. He was best known for proposing the Modern Farming Initiative. Oh, maybe that's it. Because of this, he proposed the modern farming initiative to abandon any use of the medicinal herbs. Yes, to revise their agricultural practices. So I mean, it doesn't quite say that directly. But that would make sense as a sentence. So because of this, Jan proposed the modern farming initiative to abandon any use. It's also weird because here it says the modern farming initiative was proposed by Mayor Jan Dragunov in 1991. But he was in mayor in 1992. I guess he could have proposed it before he was mayor, but then once he was mayor, he was like, we're gonna do it. But then after the first mayor disappeared, that's what where they've cancelled it. So the who proposed it and why it was cancelled seems a bit weird, right? Because it says the new mayor proposed it in 1991, and then when the old mayor disappears in 1992, that's where they scrap it. But maybe we will find out more about this, so let's see if that's correct. No, okay. So this is not correct, but that may be where this discrepancy comes into, right? It wasn't Jan Dragunov that proposed the initiative there. It was the Attila Dragunov, the earlier mayor. No, something is not correct. Was it the herbs or the other thing? Oh, you mean the mushrooms? Like, does it mean specifically the mushrooms? We can try the mushrooms. And then go back to Jan being the person that proposed it. Yeah, okay, that was it. After the government's disapproval of their product, Dr. Mitislav Dragunov caused the tragedy Summer Plague. Because of this, Jan Dragunov proposed a modern farming initiative to abandon any uses of the symbiotic ergot. Okay. Yes, this is where we're getting further into the... We have to read deeper, right? It's not gonna be spelled out on the pages. We have to find the links slightly below the surface. Family ties. Mstislav, or Mstislav. Maybe that's what the name is. Is a good man, but I knew his ambition would get to him. To think he risked innocent lives. I might have found something that is of use. What's inside is sensitive. Handle it accordingly. I'll continue digging around for more material. Okay, it's an image. Ooh. To whom it might concern. As you may know, it's been 3 months since our mayor went missing. He was dear to our hearts, but alas, we must come together and continue running the town. The control of Kozlovka police force and its public database will be transferred to his son, Jan Dragunov, as he will be taking the reins as mayor of the town. With that, the passcode to the town ledger has been changed. It is now the heading code of the town hall. Thank you everyone for your patience. Regards, Kozlovka Police Force. Okay, so in the redacted bypass, that's where we learned about the heading codes, right? So, somehow we come up with this, like NW7 from heading code N00, NE45, E90, SE 135. Wasn't it 451? No, 451 is the area code for Kozlovka. Right, so when he sent us this... Oh, so maybe it's the, like, 451 is the area code and SW2 is the heading code. We don't have to, like... Oh no, that's his thing. And then Town Hall is NW6. And they said they moved it to the town or the Town Hall code. Okay, so we actually have that. We actually have that in this document. Not this document. This one. So it's NW6. So that's for the ledger. The town ledger has been changed, yes, to the heading code of Town Hall. Okay. So we can access that. And we're gonna do so. But let's read what we have to do so that we keep that in mind while we're working. Someone's true name is something. They were responsible for the tragedy something. Okay, so we're basically uncovering who did which of the tragedies, right? So we've ticked off who did the summer plague. It was the doctor. But other people will be responsible for the other tragedies in town. I mean, it makes sense. Like, it was over basically 100-year period, so it wasn't all a single person, most likely. They frequently returned to the site of the tragedy to carve the rune of something onto the something. Potentially the oak, right? Because that's where we've seen the runes, but let's see if we can see about that. Okay, but passcode required, it's only numbers. Yes, there was a rune in the 90s disappearance image of the tree, and there's just runes in the middle of the tree, so it's one of those things. But this requires only numbers, so we still have to make some sort of do something in order to turn it into 4 numbers. So how does the heading code become NW7 from what is given here? It was the woman's responsibility to carve runes, yes. Yes, so it might be the witch. It could be... like, because obviously one of the tragedies was the winter festival, right? So it could be like the wife of the original founder, although it says they frequently return to the site. So it sort of seems to imply that it would be someone who's still alive and, you know, does the things. So yeah, potentially the witch is more likely. And NW would be northwest, but then here it's saying N00. Oh, does it mean like... Yes, we don't know the witch's real name. So does it mean like if it's north, then it's numbers starting from 000. If it's northeast, it's numbers starting from 45. And then, yes, southeast 135, east is 90, and stuff like that. So from that, we get... So it was NW6 for the town hall. So that would put it just before the NW7. Blah, 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 blah. So yeah, southeast is 135. I'm like trying to organize this in my head. Because yeah, we're going round to, so 270 here. 215. Okay, but are we still? Let me just see this. What I'm getting confused about, and we may see this here, right? It wants a 4-digit code, and as we say, it's the we just do a leading 0, something like that, right? Because it would be like we get a 3-digit number out of this, right? And then what? We just do 0. No. $3.15 and then the 6. Oh, as in we do the $3.15 because that's where the northwest starts, and then the 6 because that's the extra code. That's a confusing system, to be honest. Okay, so yes, they just turning the... Okay, I get it now. They just turning the letters into 3 digits, and then the 4th digit is still included. It's not the whole thing becomes yeah, okay. It's not the whole big thing becomes 3-digit number. It's the 3-digit number for the direction code and the number that goes after. Kozlovka Town Ledger. This ledger details the family that governs the town of Kozlovka. See below the list of family members. Yes, so we have Attila Dragunov, the mayor we already know about. Mstislav Dragunov, the doctor. Lilia Dragunova. Oh, red eye. And this article has been modified as well. Lilia Dragunova is the adoptive elder sister of Attila and Mstislav Dragunov, although she acted more as a caregiver to the two boys rather than a sibling. Not much is known about her besides reports of her eccentric personality. In 1965, the Dragunov family announced that she had run away, though no investigation was held. Okay, and this is a picture of her from 1963. Not true part of the family. Yes, could be hundreds of years old. But yes, because of the eye, I guess it is telling us this is the witch. So I guess we can put this here, right? Because we've already went like, oh, it's the witch. Or it's, well, if she was youngish in 1963, then it would make sense that by current date or even the 90s, she's like the older woman who's the witch, right? So I'm gonna put that here for now. Like if we said, you know, we were talking about the witch here. And that she's carving the runes and all stuff like that. Then we have Vola Dragunova. Vola Dragunova is the mother of Jan Dragunov. She was a proud member and adamantly supported Jan's mayorship after her husband's... She was a proud mother and adamantly supported Jan's mayorship after her husband's disappearance. Although she no longer uses their last name, she still has close connections with the family. Okay, but she doesn't have a red eye, so she's not the witch. And then we have Jan Dragunov, who we've already seen, and I'm pretty sure we've already seen the bypass. And yes, we can see her bypass too. Her brother, Mstislav, pursued medicine after being inspired by her childhood stories of being sickly, one which damaged her eye, although it was more of a morbid fascination of her condition than a drive to help her. Okay, so... interesting. Because, I mean, it says that she's not the true relative. She was adopted as like an older sister. But she talks about childhood stories of being sickly. And then another mention of a sickly child we had was the Dragunov family, where he was like... his career shifted to farming after having their first child who was born sickly. Like, is she like immortal? So she like came back to the family being like, oh no, I'm totally not the original child that's somehow immortal, and I don't know what you're talking about. I've just been living in this forest eating the mushrooms. She ate so many mushrooms. Now the mushrooms control her. Anyway, so yes. She is the witch, Lilia Dragunova, and they were responsible for the tragedy. They frequently returned to the site of the tragedy to carve the rune. Okay, so there was a tragedy with a rune that was shown next to it. Yeah, so it's the disappearances, there is a rune, the hexagonal one. The plague was in homes. There is no rune seen in the animal killings or the battle. And there isn't anything for... I mean, there's like runes at the bottom of the tree as well. So actually, if we're talking, she frequently returns to draw a rune. Like, there is repeated rune here. So that would be something coming in and drawing lots of runes. And that rune is not this one. Well, the tree is in the forest. And I think there was specific tragedy that was specifically at the tree. There we go. Izivini. The Slavic rune is a symbol of forgiveness and peace. It is often used in pagan rituals associated with lustrous spirits. So that's the rune. And she's putting it onto the oak. Yeah, so the tragedy that was specifically at the oak. Yes. In 1965, a tragedy occurred when locals were reporting their pets missing to the authorities. It was revealed that dozens of animals were found mutilated at the foot of the oak. Although the investigation was quickly resolved, the bodies were proven difficult to retrieve. This has also been redacted, right? So this specifically happened at the oak. So we can read the other version. Witness mentioned that they saw a red glowing dot darting around the area when the mutilation supposedly took place. This sparked a short-lived legend of an angry spirit in the forest. The police stated that this was baseless rumor. Well, don't we just know someone that looks kinda like a red angry dot in the dark? I mean, it says she has a bloodshot eye, but yes, that implies more of a... She actually, like, the eye is glowing. Right? So they were responsible for the animal killings. There we go. So yes, she's supposedly adopted to the family, but also might be originally from the family and then came back to it. Strange happenings. New mail. hidden sister. To think that the witch was their sister all along, and to think they had a sister to begin with. It's almost unbelievable. I found this document hidden in the archives. It felt like it was meant to be buried, like it wasn't meant to be found. I hope it helps your investigations, okay? Year 1943, okay, so right before the battle, massacre. Research notes 144. Transcription. Tree looks to be centuries old. It can be confirmed. There are runes on the tree. However, it isn't chalk like the pictogram suggests. Seems to be carved with some carpenter tool. Well, and we know a carpenter in town. Remind soldiers not to trample over the area and be careful of the delicate fungi. They are hard to spot, but they are there. Update. Found a letter written a few days after the incidents. We'll attach along with these notes. Not attached. It's behind there, but we can't read it. I wanted to see the secret letter. Okay, so yes, this is just before the massacre, and I get the soldiers touched the mushrooms, and that's why they died. So someone is responsible for the tragedy, something. They are also responsible for the two something on the something. The rumors of the tragedy spread across Europe and led to another tragedy, something else. Interesting. I assume what that letter talks about the runes on this tree, right? That they are carved out with a carpenter tool. And we know that the founder was a carpenter, but there was also the whole situation that in the winter, for the winter festival, the wife would take up the tools. So it's potential that she did it again because it was the women's work to carve the runes. And then, yes, remind soldiers not to trample over the area. They are also responsible for the two somethings. Yes, the letter was just before battle, like the year before, 1943. So, the massacre we're looking for is the Battle of the Forest, or the tragedy. Yes. In June 1944, a huge offensive was launched, cornering the Nazis in the Białowieża forest. Dozens of lives were lost into the forest, which ended in a Soviet victory. Afterwards, Zarnav declared independent. So, it doesn't say that they were killed, in battle as such, right? Dozens of lives were lost to the forest. Like, that implies something other than combat. Like, they went into the forest and then didn't come out. Okay, so would the original founders be alive back in the day that die? I'd hardly call 1991 afterwards, where it's almost 50 years later. So I'm not sure which bit is that about. Oh, the phrasing in the article. Okay, I was like, what? I mean, it was afterwards, just later. Yeah, it was a founding member of Konzlovka. She was devout to her husband. It doesn't say, like, when did she live? When did she die? Yeah, if it was founded in 87, 33 is 6 years later. Yes, that is true. That is true. And I mean, it's more likely that the... It's more likely that the original founders were involved in the 1892 massacre, that they were involved in whatever happened in this battle. That probably makes more sense in that case. So therefore, who would have been around during the battle? I mean, Attila, yes, was the mayor of Kozlovka from 1945 to 1992, right? Which means he was alive and an adult in 1945. There may have also been in the town ledger, yes, Vola is the mother of Jan, so that's the wife of the mayor. So she would have also been around in 1944. Although she no longer uses their last name, she has close connections with the family. Yeah. Someone is responsible for, I mean, yes, the tragedy we're looking for is the battle, so we can put that in because we know that's what we're looking for based on the dates. They are also responsible for the 2 runes, I guess is what we're going for. For the 2 runes on the oak. So I think that's how it goes. Yeah, so it's either the mother or the previous mayor, right? Because they were the 2 basically alive for this. He was best known for establishing the police force, his affection for bisons. Yes, he was best known for the farm, and that's probably too late. Like, if he's mayor in 1992 and he still looks like not super old, then he's too young to have anything to do with this battle. What was the redacted stuff on this? Okay, there was no sheriff. He was leading the investigations. He appointed him some sheriff. And yes, as long as I draw breath, I shall keep this town thriving. Not that I will do what's best for Kozlovka. Okay, like killing a bunch of people in the forest? Would that be what's best? But how did it lead to another tragedy? Let me just investigate a bit more. Yeah, that's the wife. I don't think. So the other tragedy. Because after the other tragedy that happens, so we have the battle happens in 44. In 65 are the animal killings, right? So that's not really, like, we've already looked at that one. It was to do with the witch. Then in 90s is the summer plague, which is the situation with the doctor. And so in the 92 is the disappearances. The 90s disappearances. I mean, it could be the 92 disappearances. Because there were talk about an outsider going missing. Yes, over the course of 2 months. And I mean, Attila was among the missing then in 92, and as well as one non-local. The investigation led by Jan ran cold after a year, having only found a few items from several victims. This was the most recent tragedy that the town had to endure. Okay, so it's possible that if Attila was involved in the initial tragedy of the Battle of the Forest, in 90s he's trying to do something again, right? He's trying to do more, and that's how it leads to the other tragedy, because this time, like, he dies himself as part of whatever he's doing. That I tried to unlock more about the festival. Yeah, we have this, right? We've unlocked this. This was a massacre in 1892, so that was back way after, like, this is probably something that the original founders did. So this would have been way before the battle. Well, I guess we can try this. No, that's not correct. Okay, so someone, I'm not sure about his name, that it was him. It could have been the wife, right? Because especially with the runes, it was saying it was women's work. It was women's work to do the runes. So was it the wife that did this? No. I mean, it could be a different tragedy, but I'm like, what would be the different tragedy? Oh, but wait. No. The tree is centuries old, not the runes, okay. I was like, the runes are centuries old, or what are we talking about here? There are runes on the tree, however, it's in chalk like the pictorium suggests, carved with some carpenter tool. Reminds soldiers not to tread over the fungi. See, with the carpenter tools, I'm more being led towards the original founders, because of the whole. He was a carpenter, and then he shifted to farming, and he borrowed her strength, whatever that means. And then, yeah, she was a founding member. She set up the Winter Festival as her way of celebrating her husband's crops. It attracted dozens of people from whose families made up Kozlovka today. She was always devout to her husband and was known in the community to set everything aside for the sake of her family. Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe this is a different thing, right? Maybe this is the Winter Festival. And there are the runes. And then that led to the battle, right? So the battle is not the first thing. The battle is the second thing. Maybe that's what it means. And then this is Alina, maybe? Because she set up the Winter Festival. And the Winter Festival occurs every year on the 15th. The festival celebrated the hardship between people endured through the year. Wives would take up their husband's tools as a sign of kinship and equal footing, right? So she would take the carpenter tools and do things with it. And then the massacre happened. Okay, so Alina is responsible for the Tragedy Festival massacre. They are also responsible for the 2 Slavic rune symbols on the Draken Oak. The rumors of the tragedy spread across Europe and led to another tragedy, the battle. Is that better? Yes. Okay. That makes more sense then. Yeah, so that's what I'm sort of thinking, right? That the family specifically, right? Because the family has maintained control over the town across the years. is that they know this is how this works. They know you have to feed the forest, you have to feed the mushrooms. So they're the ones doing this, right? They continue to do this because they believe in the mushrooms. Conspiracy. This must have been the beginning of it all. I've heard of a legend before, but always thought it was an old wives' tale to scare me when I was a child. I think we're uncovering a much deeper conspiracy than we thought. Surely someone must have known about all of this. How did these tragedies go unnoticed? Unconnected? Well, I think they've been working really hard, right? They've been hiding the information and redacting things specifically for people to not notice. Someone intentionally led investigators astray. They ousted someone from the family after the tragedy something and covered up mistakes made by something after the tragedy something. Okay. So, it might be easier if we're like ticking them off, right? So, we now have said who did the festival, right? Alina did that. I assume there isn't a way for us to like see our previous reports. Then the battle sort of just kind of happened as a result of that. Yep, the family is the instruments of the mushrooms. So yes, the battle is sort of related to the festival that Alina did. So the animal killings were done by the witch. The summer plague, we said that was done by the doctor, pharmacist, yes, Mstislav. Hello, Firefly. Are you here to sacrifice to the mushroom gods? So yes, it's kind of the 90s disappearances that are still open. You wanna say hi to everyone? Are you the mushroom gods? I must sacrifice to you. Sacrifice some snacks to the goddess. No, you don't wanna say hi. You just wanna sit on my lap. Get in the way. Yep. Scritchy scratchies. Scritchy scratchies are required. You've also opened the door and let the cold in from the hallway. Keeping me chilly. So I'm nice and fresh. Okay. So, in the 90s disappearances, it says the investigation led by Jan Dragunov ran cold after a year, having only found a few items from several victims, right? So it could make sense that if the Dragunov family is involved in the rituals, the sacrifices, whatever, he of course knows about it and he's like, oh yeah, we're investigating, I don't know what happened. Seems like a mystery. We should stop investigating real soon. Right? Because totally nothing is happening. So, yes. I think Jan has been intentionally leading the investigation astray. Interestingly, it's like we've sort of not opened a lot of new pages for a while. We're just kind of having to be locked in here, and there aren't any undiscovered links, so potentially we have all the information we need. They ousted someone from the family after the tragedy and covered up mistakes made by something after the... Okay, so they may have ousted the sister, right? Because it says Lilia, who's the witch, is the adoptive elder sister. Although she acted more as a caregiver to the two boys rather than sibling, not much is known about her besides reports of her eccentric personality. In 1965, the Dragunov family announced that she had run away, though no investigation was held. Would Jan, though, be old enough in 1965 to be doing this, right? Yes, the other tragedies we have is the plague and stuff like that. Well, the fact that she disappears in 1965, that means this is when she is ousted, right? She doesn't just run away. That's when they get rid of her. So I'm like, yes, her brother Mstislav pursued medicine. So yeah, she's closer to the Mstislav and Attila in age than she is to Jan. So it feels like Jan would not be at the age to cast hair out in 1965, right? Like Jan would be way too young for that. So I think this might actually be Attila that's doing this cover up here. So Attila Dragunov eventually led investigation astray. They ousted, yes, the witch from the family. So they ousted, no, click this first. Lilia Dragunova from the family after the animal killings, because that's what she did. And cover up mistakes made by his brother, right? Because that would make sense. After the summer plague. Yeah, suspected at first to be fast-moving contagion, the tragedy ended as suddenly as it began, and this has been modified. Yes, because here I think it said that they suspected the victims were frequent patrons of Dr. Mstislav Dragunov, who regularly complained that standard medicine would not help people with such a long-standing medical condition. After a swift investigation, the police said there was no correlation. Yes, so that's why that happened, right? They covered up the summer plague. There we go. So we're still not yet to the 90s disappearances. So yes, they were all in on it. They were all doing things with the forest, with the mushrooms, and then they were covering up any sort of bad publicity, mistakes, investigations, and stuff like that. So this family is definitely evil. You've done enough. I don't think this is a good direction to pursue. You've already done more than enough for the investigation, and your notes have been very helpful. But for now, I'm asking you to stop looking into this. Please, let it be. I think someone may have gotten to our friend Lysenko, right? I think people have found out that he's been snooping around, and they may have either threatened him into being like, nah, you must end it, or he's already been sacrificed to the mushrooms, and this is just them writing the email being like, don't do it, man. Yeah, don't do it. Yeah, don't do it. You must have been incredibly close to someone. After all, your real name is something, isn't it? Okay. Okay, well, here's the thing. To me, it feels like if someone was investigating the 90s disappearances and saying to us, yes, he specifically said to us, someone I cared about disappeared in the early 90s, right? And what we know about the 90s disappearances is that Dr. Casimir Ostrovsky was one of the people that disappeared then, right? We don't have any other details about, like, we know it was Attila who went missing then, but we know he was in on it, right? He was in on all the family conspiracy. And therefore, it would be weird for someone from the family to be asking us to investigate because they know what's going on. And so therefore, the conclusion would be that this person was close to Casimir Ostrovsky. The only problem I have with this conclusion is that if there's someone close to Casimir, who are they, right? What is their name? Because I don't think we had any details of the family. Yeah, he went missing during his time in Kozlovka when the mycology community asked for his research. Yes, they were told it's sensitive. So someone is hidden here that is somehow close to him and also wants to know, like, they would not be involved. Well, like, one of the few people we have left, right, is Vola. She, so far, she's not done anything in the story. The one thing about her is that, you know, she's the mother of Jan Dragunov. She was a proud mother and adamantly supported Jan's mayorship after her husband's disappearance. You know, but she no longer uses their last name. She has still close connections with the family, like, for whatever reason, right, other than her husband disappearing, she stopped using the family name. Yes, they didn't censor her at all. Who else do we have? Because, I mean, of course there is the witch, right? But, why would she care about the doctor? Yeah, what's her new name? Like, if she stopped using the family name, what's her new name? Like, and we know the witch did one of the rituals things. I'm just kind of browsing through to see if there's if there's anything on it. Does the email has one of the initials? It's Lysenko V, so lost the window. So yeah, it is the, yes, if this is the first name, then Vola would make sense. Right? She would be Lysenko now. But here we can only put Vola Dragunova. Nope, something is not correct. How can we... No, we can't put that name in. But I still have the feeling that we are talking about Vola. I'm just like, do we have to find her? Do we have to find her name somehow else, or is that okay? So maybe this is wrong. Incredibly close. I mean, so yes, she was close to Jan. She was close to Attila, right? Because that was her husband then, if she was the mother of Jan. So, and Attila disappeared, so that might be it. Like, so okay, so it would be like she was married to him and he disappeared, but she didn't know, right? She wasn't originally in the family, so like she's not in on their dark secrets, and therefore after finding out she like stopped using the name and stuff like that. Yes, you must have been incredibly close to Attila Dragunov. After all, your real name is Vola Dragunova, isn't it? Wrong assumptions. Attila was my husband. He was everything to me. I loved him, and I never imagined he would be involved in whatever this is. I hired you because I wanted to know what happened to him, not to learn he might have had a part in it. I don't know everything he did, but he was always a private man. Please don't assume the worst without proof. Okay, so she was trying to look for him, but instead she found out that the family was up to no good. Okay, there is more at play. There is a reason why there are so many tragedies. Everything traces back to one place, and all the roots lead back to the tree, the mushrooms. The tree is at the center of it all, and your husband is part of it. Yes, there's a reason there are so many tragedies. Everything traces back to one place. It leads back to the Dragon Oak, or the forest in total. The tree is at the center of it all. Yes, there is more at play. There is a reason why there are so many Kozlovka tragedies. Everything traces back to one place, and the roots lead back to the Dragon Oak. That tree is the center of it all, and your husband is part of it. Finish what we started. We've come too far to stop now. I suppose we have to see this through. I went through his office. I hate doing it. It feels wrong, but something caught my eye. I don't know why he had this or what it means. Maybe you'll understand better than I do. Okay? A new document. I'm sorry, Jan, but it's impossible. The land is too reliant on the symbiotic ergot. Without it, we just can't. Maybe decades later something can change, but the damage is too dire. Your proposal will fail. And there is something else. I think I'm being watched. I might know who's behind the recent incidents, but I need to be certain before I say more. I'll explain in person. July 21st, 1992. Okay, so I guess he didn't get to explain in person because whoever was involved, whoever was watching him may have gotten to him first before they got to do something else. So your proposal will fail, as in he wanted to look into like scientific investigation as to how we can, you know, do things better rather than relying on the mushrooms, but he was like, no, the mushrooms, we must let them do what they do. Someone sent a letter to Somnas of how the something will fail. They also knew who was involved in the something. Okay, so this was sent by Attila, right? Attila Dragunov sent a letter to Jan Dragunov. Become the soup, become the mushroom. of how the modern farming initiative will fail. Right? Because I think that's what it was about. They wanted to stop just feeding people to the mushrooms and do something else. How the modern farming initiative will fail. They also knew who was involved in the Kozlovka tragedies or the 90s disappearances. It's one of those things. Oh, okay, it's the 90s disappearances then. Nope. They also knew who was involved in what? Because that's the only one that we have. Why does it say... Why does it say Dragon Oak? Yes. Yes, I somehow dragged the tree in instead of the guy. It was the tree, okay? It can kill people, it can write letters. I don't know what you mean. But it is the tragedies then. No. The tree, I mean, yes, the tree is behind it all. Send a letter to Jan how the modern farming initiative will work. Like, I feel pretty good that that's the answer, right? Because that's what Jan set up. He set up the modern farming initiative. That's what it says here. He's best known for proposing the modern farming initiative. Tree is love, tree is life, yeah. Yes, agricultural practices. That leads to the preservation. Yeah, yearly yield, medicinal herbs. Yes, industrialized, modern farming. Yeah, so that feels good. It's just, they also knew who was involved in what. I might know who's behind the recent incidents. When he's sending this in 1992, recent incidents, that does sound like the 19 disappearances. Then why does this not work? Yes, that's what I'm thinking, but I thought I put that in. Unless I, put the wrong thing in again, because I'm going too fast. No. Yes. So this feels right, but it's not right. So what's wrong? Maybe wrong person or tree sending the letter. Oh, yeah. Maybe it was the doctor. Maybe the doctor did send it, right? So he was researching the mushroom and he was like, oh yeah, you can't do this. You need the mushroom. You need to feed the mushroom. Rather than the father. Yeah, that fixes it. Dr. Casimir Ostrovsky sent a letter to Jan Dragonev of how the modern farming initiative would fail. They also knew who was involved in the 90s disappearance. Yes, okay. So, yes, Jan gets the doctor to research the mushrooms so that they can stop sacrificing people to the forest, right? He's like, listen, it's the 20th century. It's almost the 21st century. We can't keep sacrificing people to the forest. Let me call in some scientists to figure this out, right? And the scientist is like, I hate to say this, but it's the mushrooms. You need the mushrooms. And then he's like, yeah, I think I know who's feeding the mushrooms. And then they feed him to the mushrooms. No subject. These are the last of what I could find. They know I've been looking into this. If something happens to me, please find... Okay. Well, I guess she gone. Okay. We've got evidence letter. Refer to research notes 144 for details. My dearest daughter, do not fear the sacrifice your mother made. Take the fungi and you will not only survive, you will thrive. The land will remember your name as it remembers her. With all the love I can still give, your father. 17th December, 1892. Yes, you know, as you're falling down on your keyboard because someone has assassinated you, don't forget to add the attachments and press send. You know, very important. If this is the last thing you do in your life, make sure you do so. But yes, this brings us back to, yes, the founding father fed the mushroom to his daughter so that she could be no longer sickly. Because this was written in 1892, the year of the festival massacre. So you feed the mushrooms and then you eat the mushroom and they grant you strength, they grant you life. Dear brother, I read her father's letter. Think about it. If the land feeds on what it's given, then maybe it doesn't have to end in ruin. Maybe this is how we survive. It's no wonder she never seemed to age all this time. Yep, we got it. The witch. She was the original daughter. I need to test it. A few small trials, just to see. The thought alone has kept me awake for days. I know how it sounds, but this could change everything. Imagine what we could do for the next 50 years. November 24th, 1965. So that was around the time of the animal killing. So that's where they find out the adopted sister, actually original daughter, has been doing rituals to the mushrooms. So this is likely Mstislav, a letter to Attila. Dear brother, time is running out. I think I'll have to start soon. Jan invited some expert after your clumsy mistakes, but I think I can handle them. Perhaps your trials were not failures. You said they passed in their sleep. It might be the best solution to make it as painless as possible. It's the best we can do for what we're asking of them. For the loss of a few, there is still many. The family motto. So yeah, that happens in July 1992. So what they're discussing here is they're discussing the summer plague, right? That, you know, the trials he made that during the summer plague made people die. He's like, okay, well, maybe it's like, you know, we poison the people so that then we can easily sacrifice them so they're not screaming while we're doing it. And, you know, yes, for the loss of the few, there is still many because the land will be fertile again. And, you know, the village will be able to thrive and survive. Just gotta, you know, pick a few people we don't like. Is everything all right? Are you there? Are we supposed to just say that to her? Are we just supposed to use her name? Is everything all right, Vola Dragonova? Are you all right? Are you there? Yeah, okay. That's just that. We just have to write that email. We get a response. Town Hall at Kozlovka local. Hello. I'd like to apologize for Vola Dragonova's action as of late. Unfortunately, we've decided to terminate your contract. Please cease all prior investigations and send your invoice to the town hall. Your services will be paid in full. Thank you for your cooperation. Okay, well, I guess Vola is now one with the mushrooms. Who is this? Is that you? I guess it could be Jan, right? If we're getting an email from the town hall and someone is covering all of this, could be Jan. Like, obviously, back when he was trying to do the modern farming initiative, he was like, we have to end this. But since then, he may have learned that it wasn't possible. So instead, you know, he's like, okay, well, I guess I'm down. We have to keep the family tradition going. Shame that story devolves to a powerful woman in the woods with medicinal knowledge, dim liability, and vilified. Well, so if it was purely just about, you know, she knows how to use the mushrooms and does it for the benefit of everyone, that's one thing. But from the start, they all knew that it involved sacrifice, so, you know, I'm not sure if I can be supportive of the powerful woman that needs to do murder every few decades. Because it did all start with the murders, right? They had to go and sacrifice people. So yeah. Jan, is that you? Since you're in charge now? Yep. Who is this? Jan Dragunov? Is that you? Jan Dragunov. That was a good guess, or perhaps you're simply more perceptive than I gave you credit for. Tell me, what's driving you now? Curiosity? Guilt? Or the need to be right, no matter the cost? You're probably the only one to understand. Too much blood has spilled in somewhere. Kozlovka? Someone and I didn't know what we were uncovering, but now we do. And the world deserves to know. Okay, so yes, I think now we're just kind of forming rather simple emails. So too much blood has spilled in Kozlovka. And then Vola and I didn't know what we were getting into. Didn't know what we were uncovering, but now we do, and the world deserves to know. Yep, that is the case. Stubborn as a rock. You are naive to think that simply telling everyone is going to solve anything. Truth doesn't heal, it spreads, it divides, it consumes. It definitely does consume. Fine, I'll let you continue your investigation. You already have everything you need. Perhaps you will understand the poison I've been forced into. Start from the beginning. Yes, because he tried to change it. He tried to find a way to not do the sacrifices, but now he's covering it up as well. The letter was written by someone addressed to something. Yes, okay. So this is the letters from the attachments. Yes, this one. So this letter. My dearest daughter, do not fear the sacrifice your mother made. Take the fungi and you will not only survive, you will thrive. The land will remember your name as it remembers hers. With all love, I still give your father. Yes, so this was written by the original town founder. His name was Bogdan Dragunov, and it was addressed to his daughter, Lilia, right? Who later becomes the witch because, like, even though she's older than she looks, it's the mushrooms that are keeping her young. It suggests that the tragedy, so the original winter ritual, right? Because that's what happened first. The winter festival, where, yes, people were It's the festival massacre. Dozens of locals were killed during the winter festival. Was a ritual to cultivate more of the mushrooms, right? That are grown on the symbiotic ergot in order to treat Lilia's illness. This letter was lost to time, only to be found during the tragedy. Was it found during the disappearances again? That's why Vola's been able to get to it? No, okay. This one is definitely not correct. Evidence letter, refer to research notes 144 for details. When is this from? Because those are not dates. 74, 75 is just order of images. Because this is all of the letters, right? From the 1800s, from 65, and then from 1992, right? They all seem to be like a stack of evidence together. But then, if they're a stack of evidence together, wouldn't they be found during the 90s disappearances? This is the last of what I could find. They know I've been looking into this. If something happens to me, please find something. So yeah, just checking, I got all the things. The letter was written by Bogdan, addressed to Lilia, suggested that the tragedy festival massacre was a ritual to cultivate more symbiotic ergo in order to treat Lilia Dragonova's illness. The letter was lost to time, only to be found during the tragedy something else. Because yeah, if all of the attachments are from the same investigation, they have to be spreading as far as 1992. Like the investigation must be happening after 1992 or during 1992 for this to make sense. Unless they're all from different investigations, but that would be very confusing if that was the case. Yeah, that is the fungus. Extraordinary fertility to the surrounding land. Why would they need to cultivate more? The spread across the entire area is the reason that crops do better. But there wasn't a lot of it at the time, right? Like, so from this picture, this is the winter festival massacre, right? At the end of the 1800s, and therefore they only get more of the mushrooms after the massacre, right? Because that's what we originally matched it up to, that the certain tragedies where they're linked to the better output in crops, but that's only because they've spread the mushrooms. So, like, to me, it makes sense that the tragedies, the sacrifices, were rituals to get more of the ergot, right? That's where I'm getting that from. Do not fear the sacrifice your mother made. Take the fungi and you will not only survive, you will thrive. The land will remember your name as it remembers hers. With all the love I can still give your father. Do not fear the sacrifice your mother made. That's an... Like, are we saying that the mother also died during the massacre, or are we saying that she did something else? I'm now trying to get back to something I thought I've read before. No, that's not what I was trying to do. Like, someone was caught and killed themselves. Right, on one of the things. Yes, the culprit was caught murdering festival attendees in front of the Draken Oak. When confronted, the culprit slit their own throat and joined their victims at the foot of the tree. This is the earliest tragedy recorded in Kozlovka, right? So it doesn't say who it was, but that would imply it was the mother, right? It was the Bogdan's wife, Alina. And I mean, we know she did that. We know she did the festival massacre. We've already confirmed that. It's just that she was the culprit that then also killed herself in order to add to the sacrifice. Which then explains this letter saying, you know, do not fear the sacrifice your mother made. Addressed to the witch. I mean, Lilia Dragonova is the witch's name, right? That's her actual name. We have also confirmed that before. Like, it could use the witch as the word, but that would be weird considering we know her real identity. The letter says your father, right? So we know it was written by the father, not by the mother. So that's Bogdan. In order to treat her illness. So yeah, so during the investigations, like, I thought it was during the 90s the 90s disappearances was that where they uncovered it, but the game was like, no, that's wrong. Right, because if all the letters that we got in this attachment are found in the same investigation, right? So the 1892 letter, the 1965 letter, and the 1992 letter, if they're all together from the same investigation, that would have to be during the 19 disappearances tragedy, because otherwise how would this letter be found before its time, right? But apparently that is not correct. Unless the suggestion is that they are not from all of the same investigation. Right? Oh, because here it says, I read her father's letter. Actually, maybe that. All the letters are not from the same investigation. It's just confusing because they're all together and they all have the same stamp, but that just might be like Kozlovka Town Hall. Because it said, dear brother, I read her father's letter. Think about it. If the land feeds on what it's given, then maybe it doesn't have to end in ruin. Okay, so they are now referring to that letter. So this is a letter between Attila and Mstislav. Maybe this is how we survive. It's no wonder she never seemed to age all this time. I need to test it. A few small trials just to see. The thought alone has kept me awake for days. I know how it sounds, but this could change everything. Imagine what we could do. So, if says, I read her father's letter is written in 65, that would have happened during the animal killings, because that's when she does that. No? Game. What conclusion do you want me to make? Yes, 1965, a tragedy occurred when locals were, yes, the missing pets. Dozens of animals were found mutilated at the foot of the Dragon Oak. Yes, it was quickly resolved. The bodies were proven difficult to retrieve due to them decaying as faster rate in the soil. What was the redacted version of this? Okay, this is just going back to the... Just going to the mycologist situation. Oh no, the witnesses mentioned that they saw a red glowing dot, yes. That led us to that the witch did that, right? The witch did the animal killings. Which would then align with this letter that's like, oh, I've read her letter, think about it, you know. So during the investigation of why did she do this, they would have uncovered, like, oh yeah, she did it because she knew from her father. I mean, we can look into the other tragedies, see if we can see anything else. So it's not the 90s disappearances. I mean, it could have been the summer plague, because that's when, you know, that's when we get the fallout of this. That's when we get the fallout of they found out about her, what she did, and about the power of the mushrooms. So then they try it themselves, and that's uncovered, but then it's hidden again. No. Well, it couldn't be uncovered during the massacre. That would make no sense, which leaves us with the battle? It was occupied by the Germans and was main source of food supplied to the battalions because, of course, of the mushroom power. Huge offensive was launched. Okay, I mean, this mentions absolutely no investigation whatsoever. So it's weird that it would be... Letter was lost to time, but only to be found during the tragedy. I mean, I guess it doesn't say it was found during an investigation to the tragedy. It could have just been randomly found on the floor or behind a cupboard, right? I'm confused about that one, to be honest. Because that was the only one we had left. But I don't know what pointed to it being the battle, unless because the letter was written like November 65, which means it could have been like too early for the animal killings, because it was like, I'm not sure about this one. I'm not sure how that one connected. Continue. Okay, we've got our orders. Attempting the ritual caused the tragedy. It failed to achieve results. When they were caught, someone took the letter and sent it to someone. In their excitement, something caused the tragedy. Something. Okay. That was the summer plague, I think. Now we're getting to the summer plague because this is the brother Mstislav trying to attempt the ritual after writing this, right? What we could do for the next 50 years. So he starts experimenting with the mushrooms, and eventually this leads to the summer plague, because there is nothing between the animal killings and then the summer plagues. There is no other thing that happens, so it doesn't feel like there would be room for anything else, right? So attempting the ritual, someone caused the summer plague, so we already know that it was Dr. Mstislav Dragunov that caused the tragedy summer plague. It failed to achieve result. When they were caught, Mstislav took the letter and sent it to someone else. So this is them. Dear brother, I read her father's letter. I think about it. Maybe this is how we survive, because if we go to the agriculture chart, right, the summer plague, like, I guess this is the reason it was kind of hard to read, is like the 1990s was a summer plague, and I guess that failed to work because they just died in their homes, and then, you know, it doesn't happen. But then, therefore, that's why it's such a short time span, right? To just jump to 92 and the disappearings happen because they're like trying to do something else. So I think he sent that letter to Attila, right? Because he says, dear brother, that would make sense. I think that's correct. In their excitement, Attila then caused the disappearances, and himself became the victim of the disappearances? No. I mean, it says when they were caught, but he was never truly caught, right? Like they figured out that it was that the people were linked to him, but then that was all covered up, right? So were they truly caught? Yes, he announced a more potent version of this medicine in 1999, failed safety test. Yeah, I think that was in... I guess it was the summer plague that said that it was all his patients. The victims were frequent patrons of Dr. Mstislav Dragunov, who regularly complained about the medicine, not helping people. After swift investigation, the police said there was no correlation. Yes, so he wasn't really caught, right? Because they did the investigation and they covered it up. Attempting the ritual. It failed to achieve results. Okay, so what other ritual failed to achieve results? Because maybe I'm mistaken here. Cause this is the winter festival. This is the battle. And then this little blip here is the animal killings. And then the two together here is the summer plague and the 92 disappearances. So maybe this isn't correct. Maybe this is talking about Lilia failing to do the ritual using animals, right? So I guess that's what she maybe was trying. She was trying to change the ritual. She was attempting to use animals instead of people to see if it would help. And it turned out that animals are just not good enough, right? You gotta bring the people. The mushrooms, they have very specific tastes, and they will not do the work unless unless you bring them their favorite snacks. So, Lilia Dragonova caused the tragedy of the animal killings. It failed to achieve results. When they were caught, then Mitislav Dragonev took the letter and sent it to Attila, right? That's when he sends this letter, like... Okay, so this letter was written after the animal killings. That makes sense. So they're talking, yes, what we could achieve in the next 50 years. So, in this excitement, Mitislav, he caused the summer plague. So it's one further back to what I was thinking. I was thinking summer plague to the disappearances, but it's the animal killings to the summer plague. I mean, I'm saying this as if I know what's going to happen. I'm just thinking this makes sense. No. Still not. Still not it. Like, this I think now is correct, right? She attempted the ritual and did the animal killings. It failed to have results. When they were caught, Mitislav took the letter and sent it to Attila. What is the third letter? This is not it. This one. This is the final letter in 1992. I think I have to start soon. Jan invited some expert, but I think I can handle. Perhaps your trials were not fair. Okay, so this last one may be Attila causing the disappearances then? Because he's like, oh yeah, you tried something but it didn't work, but I think I can do something better when that last letter is sent, right? Time is running out, we have to do it soon because yes, they're at the bottom of the curve now. The mushrooms are low. And your trials, which is the summer plagues, were not failures. And that's what he's done? Still not. Still not quite it. What is up with this then? When they were called Vitislav, right? Maybe it's the other way around. Maybe it's the other way around. Maybe it's that Attila sent the letter to Mitislav. And that then caused the summer plague. So I've had it like the... I've had it as the Mitislav was the originator of the idea between the two brothers. But maybe it's the other way. Maybe he gets his doctor brother to do the experiments that then cause the summer plague. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I think Attila only did so much as to cover it up, right? It was Mstislav that did, like, cause the plague, and then Attila covered up the fact that that was the part of it. So, okay, so we're saying Attila also put Mstislav up to it, right? It wasn't like he found out after the fact and was like, I'm gonna cover it up. He was like, no, the idea came from him. Keep going. You're almost there. Okay. After the incident, you invited... Yeah. Now they definitely invited the professor, or the Dr. Casimir Ostrovsky. You being Jan, we're talking to Jan, to research the symbiotic ergot, right? That was the modern initiative. Because they were trying to research the mushroom and find out more about it. While research was underway, someone started the ritual once again, causing the okay, this is gonna cause the 90s disappearances. We have finally arrived. Someone was suspicious and tried to notify you. However, the letter was intercepted by and killed them. This alerted you of the crime. Okay, so this is the final letter. That's the final letter in the set. No, it's not the final letter. It's the other letter. Yes, I'm sorry, Jan, but it's impossible. The land is too reliant on the symbiotic ergot. Without it, we just can't. Maybe decades later something can change, but the damage is too dire, your proposal will fail. And there's something else. I think I'm being watched. I might know who's behind the recent incident, but I need to be certain before I say more. Yes, so this is a letter sent by Casimir Ostrovsky to tell Jan, yes, the mushrooms, they're too strong. You need them. So someone started the ritual. And I think who started the ritual in this case is Attila, right? Because Attila is he's still in on it. He's still saying, like, I believe in the old ways. I covered up, like, I got my brother to do the research and I covered up for him. So I still believe this is the way. He started the ritual once again, causing the tragedy, the 90s disappearances. Then, yes. The Dr. Casimir, he was suspicious. No, that doesn't work. He was suspicious and tried to notify Jan, because that's who the letter is to, right? It's you because we're talking to Jan. However, the letter was intercepted by, I presume, Attila then, and killed it, who then kills him, right? Because but then, did Jan kill his own father? He was like, you ruined everything, I was going to fix this, and you killed the guy. I mean, they're not asking that yet, but maybe. So was it intercepted by Attila, who then killed Doctor? Yes. After the incident, you invited Dr. Casimir Ostrovsky to research the symbiotic ergot. While research was underway, Attila Dragunov started the ritual once, causing the tragedy 90s disappearance. Dr. Casimir Ostrovsky was suspicious and tried to notify you. However, the letter was intercepted by Attila Dragunov and killed them. This alerted you of the crime. He responds, well done. I'm assuming you already figured out what happens next. There isn't enough evidence, but I can make a calculated guess. Yes, you killed your father, Attila Dragunov. He was the last victim of the 90s disappearance, right? That's how he put the end to it. He took the last person in his family who was still involved in doing the rituals, or at least as far as he knew, because the witch is still alive. So he took the last person who was involved and he killed them himself. Yes, I can make a calculated guess. You killed Attila Dragunov. He was the last victim of the 90s disappearance. My father. He may have been my father, but by the end, he wasn't the man I knew. When I learned what he'd done, what he intended to continue, I had to end it. It was foolish, because in the end, the burden fell onto me. The irony of it all. Some truths rot everything they touch. Do you understand why the past has to stay buried? Yes, so he basically doesn't want people to find out about it because he's worried they will do it again, right? It feels like, yes, if people in the town find out that you have to feed the forest in order for their farming to continue, in order for them to get the crops they're expecting, someone's going to do it again, right? It's going to be difficult to control everyone and be like, no, you can't do that. So he's, I think, trying to keep that bottled up. Yes, something is too reliant on the something. The town was built on death, on rituals, disguised as tragedies, and it's been feeding on that ever since, yes. So what we're saying is that Kozlovka is too reliant on the ergot. Right, because that's what's making the soil fertile. The town was built on death, on rituals, disguised as tragedies, and it's been feeding on that ever since. I mean, you know, if the land stopped being fertile and you can't get any food anymore from there, I guess you could move. Like, I don't think, like, obviously they get a yield of crop that's large when they feed the mushrooms, but it doesn't mean that in normal circumstances there isn't enough food, right? Or maybe there isn't, but then maybe they just have to figure out something else. I mean, it is the 90s by this point. Obviously, like, there are ways to import food, right? You can get it delivered from somewhere nearby. It's not like the village is completely cut off from the world and that's the only way you can survive. Do what you must. Casimir only confirmed what I was too scared to admit myself. The town is built on blood, and to extend the country, to an extent the core country of Zernava. If we stop the process, people will starve. Okay, yes, because I was like saying that, but yes, in this reality, we're talking about some small country of Zernava, I guess. And therefore, they may not have the supplies they need. If we stop the process, people will starve. But what's a measly few to sacrifice only every 50 years? It was a curse inherited by my family, but I've grown tired of the charades. I think in my heart, I wanted to know. I won't stop you from doing what you think is right. I only wished my mother wouldn't need to know. Okay. I mean, yes, it's also the risk that if the international community, various other governments find out that there is a magic mushroom living in the forest, that, you know, if you give it blood sacrifice, it makes ridiculous medicine and farming yields, then they may come, right? Suddenly the country may suffer an invasion of some sort. That's a possibility. Okay. So we've got to make a choice. We've got to make a choice. We can publish the article and expose the town. Expose it all for what it is. Tell the world about the magic mushroom in the forest. And see what happens. The consequences. We can delete it all, right? We were basically trusting Jan to not, you know, murder too many people. Although in that last email, he seemed like, yeah, but we're gonna starve, so we may have to keep going, right? I thought he was trying to cover it, to like keep it a secret and not do it anymore. But it feels like he's kind of starting to lean more over the whole, oh yeah, I may have to do it again because otherwise we starve. Or we can burn the tree. We can basically say, no one gets to do this anymore. No one gets to use this. This is evil. This is not acceptable. And Therefore, we just end this. We burn the tree and end the whole thing. So we can be the true journalist and we can publish, right? Because that's our job as the journalist, to let the world know about what's happening. Or we can either cover it up or we can end it all. We can destroy it. So I can already see there's one preference to burn the tree, but I'm not sure if we're able to go back and try the other endings. So it might be that, yes, we just get to pick one and we would have to play the game to see the other ones. So if anyone else got any other preferences, say so in the chat now, and we will see if there is anything else people may want. Okay, two people for the tree burning so far. Yeah, while we wait maybe for some more people. I assume this is the end of the game, and all is gonna happen is we get some little text that said, "You did X," and that were the consequences. So it's basically the end of the game. So it's definitely a shorter one. So that was right, and it was interesting, right? I definitely enjoyed like the story, the mystery behind this, right? I've enjoyed the whole, and there is a magic mushroom that you need to feed, or you know, otherwise you won't get the benefits, and then various people going like, yes, feed the mushroom, feed the tree. So I like that story, and you know, I genuinely like the fact that it's not just a hunt for find this particular sentence in the thing, right? It's not like you're given every single answer. It's that you have to try to read slightly under the surface, you have to try to see how the things connect, and you have to try to draw a conclusion from that. That's cool. But I think in some of the places, it had what I now like to call the golden idol problem. Maybe not a problem, but I find that between me playing those sort of games a lot and me watching other people like play those games on YouTube, because, you know, when I'm not doing my videos and streamings, I watch other people play the same games that I like to play. And I find that it happens a lot that the sentences they give you are sometimes just way too vague, right? Where the stuff is just way too vague. So even though you have understood the correct information to put into those gaps, there are lots of information that can fit. And then it's difficult for you to decide just from the context of the text, which bit are you asking about, right? Like we had a bunch of there towards the middle, which it was like, this fits, but this also fits. And like between those choices, those things made sense, right? It made sense that this person did this ritual, which then led to something else, and this person spoke to this person, and like that. But then it turned out, no, we had to kind of go a bit backwards because it was the previous chain of events. So, at least for me, some of it, yes, it was... You just cover it up, but I'm not very pragmatic and not very righteous. So yes, it was sometimes like, which kind of bin of information do I pick for this one, rather than I have no idea what's going on. Because I felt like for most of it, I had a pretty good idea what was going on, right? It was just like, what particularly from my understanding you want me to put in this box? But I mean, it's fine. Like, I think part of those games is also that it is okay. It is okay to fill it in wrong, and the game being like, no, that's wrong, and you're like, okay. I shall think about it again, right? As long as it isn't so obtuse that you can't work it out in reasonable time, it's still fine, right? I'm not saying, oh, the game is bad because I didn't get anything, get some things the first time around. No, it's still good. It's still an enjoyable experience. I just think, you know, maybe some of the flow could have been improved for, like, you know, better understanding. Or maybe it's okay. Maybe they wanted us to, you know, struggle a bit. Yes, it's more straightforward than some other things, for sure. I mean, comparing it with what we've played yesterday, right? In terms of, did everything make sense together? This game has made a lot more sense. I think for most of the things, the story in this game and what we had to put together was very, very consistent, right? So it has that going for it. Because yesterday we played a game, by the time we got to the ending, it was like, where did that information come from, right? It was like, the ending was like, how was I supposed to know this? And this makes no sense. So at least here, things were very consistent in that way. So I still think it's a pretty good game overall. So again, this is a small dev. I think very few, like the credits were very small for this game again. So once again, I always like to say, you know, congrats to the devs. You made a game and it was fun to play and it was enjoyable to play. So even if I say those sort of criticisms of like, oh, you know, this wasn't all the best or this could have been better, I only mean it in like a, you know, nothing is perfect, but that's still fine. That doesn't mean this sucks. I've enjoyed it. I had fun. I hope you've enjoyed it too. And now we're gonna go burn the tree. We get a little envelope. Thank you for doing what I spent my whole life wishing I could. But every time I tried, I thought of what dying would mean, and I faltered. I was too scared. But now I've lived a much longer life than I needed. If Kozlovka survives, I pray it remembers you more kindly than it will remember me. Lily, yeah, okay. So the witch says, like, I wanted to do this, but I couldn't. And that's it. We've set the tree on fire. Yeah, so we have one person who like created the game, then the same person plus someone else writing it, one person doing the music, right? And that's it. The rest of the credits is just like resources they used and the engine they used. So yes, that's the size of the development team. So yes, once again, great job, devs. It was a good game. And the tree's on fire. We've destroyed it. Yes, thank you for playing. This project was a labor of love, and we hope you enjoyed the experience as much as we enjoyed creating it. Your game is saved just before the last report. Feel free to explore the other endings. Okay, well, we've made our choice, but we can make a choice again and see the other endings since they're just like a bit of text. So if we press continue, we can go in. Just click, 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 click. Yes. I do approve of games that are like, we have multiple endings, and we're not gonna make you like go through it, the whole thing. Just, you know, go and see what's there. So yeah, we just gotta quickly put in Kozlovka. Is too reliant on the symbiotic ergot. And then we can pick something else. So yes, we can just pick both the release the article and destroy. Yes, do what you must. So we publish the article. The world finds out all about the mushroom. Admin office, Zarnava government. Detention notice. Unauthorized disclosure. Zarnava Internal Security has flagged you for unauthorized disclosure of classified material. Your residence is under surveillance. Agents will arrive within 2 hours to take you into custody. Processing will occur at the National Center. 1 phone call will be permitted. Remain at your registered residence until an agent arrives to avoid escalation. Administrative office. Okay. So they're like, nah. You don't get to tell the world what you've done. Okay, so that means the government of Zarnava, they knew all about it, right? And they were like, we're just keeping this, under wraps, don't tell people. So I guess even if Jan didn't continue doing this, the government could have done it because they know their country also relies on the agricultural output of that area. Okay, yes, we went to jail. We went to jail because we tried to expose the mushrooms. The world did not find out about them. I honestly was expecting more of a, other governments found out and they've invaded the area and, now they have caused end of the world by trying to use the mushrooms for their own evil deeds. So at least, it's only us who had to pay the price and not the whole world. Tap. Okay. To the final ending we go. If I can open the right window. Yes, Kozlovka. Still reliant on those mushrooms. Such mushroom addicts. Yes, you thought this was the only place that does it. Yeah. Yes, we do what we must. Except we do all the versions of what we must. Okay, so delete the evidence. Are you there? Things are quiet. The fields are green again. The harvest looks like it will be strong this year. My son hasn't said much, but he brushed it all off as a misunderstanding. Guess some things don't change, but I can't help but feel like there's still something wrong. I know you're not replied to my previous emails, but please give me a sign. Okay, so this is Vola. This is the mother, right? Who originally hired us. She's like, I haven't heard from you and I don't know what's going on, but the crops are good again, which means yes, in the end, even though Jan tried to find alternatives to the sacrifices, right? He tried the scientific research method and he tried to find out how to do it better. In the end, he's like, there's only one way. A few must be sacrificed so that many may remain. And so the cycle continues. At least we know he didn't kill his own mother, right? She's still there, she's just left in the dark about the whole situations. Okay, well, that's the game, and that's all the endings. So, yeah, about 3 hours or so. Not a bad evening with this game. So, yes. Have I been fed to the mushrooms? I mean, I assume because I've decided not to intervene, I'm good, right? I just get to continue living my life with the knowledge of it, but I can never tell anyone. Yes, so we're gonna wrap it up here. As always, thank you all for coming. Thank you for chatting. Thank you for hanging out, right? Thank you for just being here. It always helps. thank you to everyone who liked the stream. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I hope you enjoyed the game. I hope you have good rest of your day, night, whatever time it is for you. Yes, we're going to be one with the mushrooms now, you know, and enjoy them coming to you at night, crawling into your beds, and making you one with nature, so that crops may be plentiful again. So yeah, enjoy that nightmare. And yeah, as always, thank you to all the channel members for supporting the channel. And yes, I hope you see you all soon. There will be videos on the channels. We will continue the rat line this week, and there will be more hamster mind as well. So you know, if you're following any of those, the videos will be coming at the usual on the usual days, so Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And then hopefully I will see you next week for another stream. Good night and bye-bye!